Entrepreneur Talks. We are on season 14, and today I'm bringing someone amazing. Like other times, but every time is someone extra because he's an extra for you guys. So today I have Richard Blank, and our topic for this session is gamifying success, lessons in business and passion for restoration with Richard Blank. I'm sorry, Richard. One, I said I wouldn't say your name wrong, but here we go. My name is Yola Bastos, and welcome to Entrepreneur Talks podcast. Sounds like it's going to be an amazing session today. So sit back and have a cup of tea or coffee or any drink you want and enjoy our conversation. Let's welcome Richard Blank. Hello, Richard. Welcome to Entrepreneurs.
Hello,
So
Yola. So happy to be here with you and your audience today. I've so much to share in regards to the Entrepreneur Talks podcast, and we're going to have a really good time.
for sure. I don't know. I started just with a lot of good vibes, and I'm so sure that this is going to be amazing. We're going to have a nice time. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for taking part of this amazing times because we have this opportunity to be talking from other people with other people. I have that opportunity, and you as well, from other places in the world. And because of that, I would like you to tell us where are you talking from?
I'm speaking with you today from Central America in Costa Rica. We're
Ah,
north of Panama and south of Nicaragua.
Costa Rica. Qué
Costa Rica.
guapo. Do you speak Spanish, right?
Sí, hablo español. Estoy aquí por 23 años y me encanta Costa
Ay,
Rica.
que me encanta también. Oh, love it. That's amazing.
We
So,
have an expression here, Yola. We say pura vida, which, as you know, means pure life. Has a
yes,
lot to do with the culture and the attitude, and you just can't help but love it here. Once you come, you never want to leave.
yes, I'm sure. I never been in Costa Rica, but it's something like remembers me. There was a movie back in the days when I was young that I it's one of my favorites, which is called Salsa. Do you remember that movie? It's a dance movie, Salsa. It's called, and it was, I think, it was produced and made in Costa Rica because
Oh, really?
they were in Costa Rica, and there is a song that I still remembering, which is Margarita, yo soy mi vida. Da-da-da-dee-da-da-da-da. Ah, beautiful. You need to watch this movie.
Well, I'm definitely gonna check it out. I got to learn that dance. We're known for movies like The Endless Summer and Surf School. We have some of the best surfing in the world, and
Oh,
um, mhm.
no. Costa Rica now is in my list. I always been in my mind, but not in my list. But Costa Rica definitely is a beautiful place. It's a dream place. I normally say it's a dream place, but you there, lucky you.
It was a one in a million opportunity, Yola. This was not planned. A very good friend of mine owned a call center here. And back in August of 2000, I came down for just 2 months to teach English. And once you can get past your parents' guilt and that barn door was open, I decided to stay. And I
Goodbye.
learned the business and I was able to build a living from it.
Wow, that's amazing. Before we go into this, your story about that, can you tell me in 3 words? Can you describe yourself in 3 words for me, please? For us.
I'm sorry, 3 words and what? I couldn't hear that.
Describe yourself in 3 words.
Oh, in 3 words to describe myself, very compassionate person.
Compassionate.
I love empathy, and I believe that it opens doors when you really open yourself up to be vulnerable, to learn new cultures, new languages, and knowing you're a guest in another country. It just really gave me that sort of positive reinforcement to stay here and to
Wow.
pay it forward, Yola. Not just financially, I really wanted to contribute to this society. And so, really, it's been a wonderful 2 decades here.
Really good. So compassionate, and empathy, and one more. Did you say three?
I guess it would be fidelity is to have love for something. And the
Okay.
first thing is to love yourself. And when I was 18 years old, I made a commitment to continue studying Spanish at the university and trying to earn a living from it instead of following in other footsteps in finance or economics or going to very competitive Ivy League schools. I had cosquillas, I had mariposas. I had
Right.
something in me telling me to go in a certain spiritual direction.
Well,
And knowing good faith and good intentions, I decided to really risk my life in my passion. And this is why I'm here today.
that's beautiful. Is not something that we hear like often. We have people. Is a lot of people driven by their money, but you're not about
Sure.
money, and you are about love and equality. Sorry, fidelity, and like looking for others, right? Working towards their needs, but with an amazing heart. So powerful.
You know your value. And in my mid 30s, I wanted to see how much I was really worth. So I put my hat in the ring. You need maturity and impulse control. But yes, I like lucrative things. My time is worth something. But then again, falling into this industry where it's an art of speech and people that are bilingual, you can see them really finding fulfillment and stimulation in their jobs. So,
Mm,
unlike certain telemarketing or certain professions where people see it as a burnout or transitional, or they just don't want to do it, in Costa Rica, these are artists of speech. These jobs pay more than most vocations. So, I have extremely talented individuals here, Yola. It's a
ve-
wonderful synergy environment that we've created.
Very good. Love it. Thank you so much for. Oops, I changed this by mistake. I'm playing around. I'm always playing with these things when I'm working, when we live. It's part of the game. You know.
It's always fun.
Yes, last time I did manage to put myself up, but I can't do it now. I don't know. Sorry about this. But like I said, thank you so much for sharing with me. This is really touching, and I love it. I'm so grateful because I'm able to get to know you and have you here in our podcast.
Yola, I got to ask you a question. A lot of your audience understands family pressures. We all grew up a certain way. And a lot of your parents might have opinions or really push you into a career that you could do.
Yeah,
You just might not be happy. And so sometimes you have to make a decision, being responsible, of course, but you have to choose to either live somebody else's life or to live your own life. It might be a little selfish, but then again, you only get 100 years on this planet. How do you want to click your heels and live your life? And so I decided to do it in a certain way where I know that I would have this sort of fulfillment. And
you
that
do.
was very important for me.
I do understand, and I totally see myself where I did have this change as well.
Hmm.
It's not my 30s, was on my fourth. What I'm trying, I mean by this is that it's never too late to do that, to be able to find living in your way, not others' ways or whatever they believe that you can do, like you just mentioned. It's really good. It gives me such.
Be careful to do it on a whim. I just don't want you to leave home to go get milk and not come back. You know, a lot of stuff has to be done on momentum. You got to see if what you're doing is working
Yeah,
and if there's a chance that you might be able to do this long term. And so that's very important for me that people are true to themselves so they can stay consistent. They can look at themselves in the mirror and possibly even make their bed in the morning. I think if they can start with that sort of core structure and that balance internally, then they'll be able to extend and focus on other people as well. And that's what I was able to do. I was very good with myself. I was very balanced. I had my center. That's my trunk of the tree. So
yep,
I needed some branches and roots to be able to expand down here. And that's why either you delegate or you bring in the people that you trust. So
yes.
you will be able to grow. Hmm.
Very good. And tell me more about that, like your story. I know you started a few years ago, like you just mentioned, but let's go deeper.
Oh,
How
my
are you?
friend, you kids in Northeast Philadelphia. I'm from the East Coast, and there's no one in my family that spoke Spanish. But as I mentioned, when I was a young man, I gravitated towards it with just vocabulary, and all the world's a stage. So I did more dedicated practice than the average student. I just didn't go to class and study. I tried to speak Spanish outside of the classroom and watch movies and write and read and have a lot of intercambios and really enjoy my time. So as I mentioned, there's a momentum there. And when I went to school in Arizona in southwest of the United States, half the state speaks Spanish. So once again, I was able to practice those skills. And I interned for Telemundo and sold beer for Corona. So I was getting a return on my investment, Yola. The Spanish was building the momentum. And then when I was 27, I had this opportunity. And I came down here and I learned this business from the inside out. Not at sea level, Yola. I was with the proletariat. I was in the cubicles. I saw the good and the bad and the happy and the sad. And then it was my turn to start the company. The most important role I had was that compassion, that empathy, giving you your dignity, allowing you to feel that you have job stability. And I'm accountable for you. And the fact that you have somebody that really invests in your career and it wants you to get better and just doesn't call you amazing, but tells you why you were great last week and what you did in order to receive that compliment. That sort of sincerity, I believe, is what gives me the sort of relationships that I have here with the people that work with me. Mhm.
My God, I'm so sorry. Richard, this went off for some reason and it was saying that has a connection problem. Did you
Uh-oh.
could you see that we were stuck, like we froze? No?
Still says live at the moment, but I can repeat something if you want me to. It's the
Yes,
same story.
you were starting and you were saying I'm from Philadelphia, and then poof, everything
Oh,
went low.
goodness gracious. Well,
And
just
I'm
imagine that sort of momentum being from Northeast Philly and ending up in Costa Rica. A lot of it had to do with just loving the languages, having the passion to continue doing it outside the class. So it's not just, it's dedicated practice. Somebody
right.
that loves the violin or painting or goes to the gym and languages, you can tell when they've invested the time. And Yola, you know what's cool? When you have an accent, it bears the mark of higher education. And it's also like a beauty mark. Anybody that speaks a second language, they show that structure, that discipline. And for me, I try to expand upon that, teaching
Yeah.
certain vocabulary to expand their ideas. Just like when I learned Spanish, the subjunctive tense, it teaches you the desire and the doubt. So you
Mm,
can really understand and live that language. And so by me being a native speaker, it was my job to ensure that these agents are speaking English to the best of their abilities and still find the stimulation in it. And so just by not throwing away the art of
yeah.
speech today with just chat and emails, I really encourage my agents to have that interpersonal communication relationship, to really show active listening, to talk about things that you hear and
Yeah.
you see. And that just makes it more of a painting instead of a print.
Very good. So I was asking you, how did you like when this happened? How did you start? Like, where are you now, and how did you start? You started. I know you're running a call center of more
That is
than
correct.
I'm not sure. You're gonna tell us uh, what is the biggest or the main differences from there and today? What is you can tell us?
Well, I've seen hybrid working, people working virtually compared to before, which was brick and mortar. But this was very interesting. I can share something with your audience in regards to how I started my company. I was raised by my great grandparents where if you can't pay for something in cash, you just don't do it. So I'm really not into taking loans out, credit on a credit card or mortgages. And so when I started my company, I launched a website October 4th of 2007. I landed my first account February 6th of 2008. It was just one seat. but I didn't have a call center and I didn't want to overextend myself. So I was renting a turnkey station at a blended call center, almost like a internet cafe, just with no privacy. So I
Nice.
was legally able to pay the benefits, the taxes, the overhead, the salary, and make a margin. And I was able to scale accordingly. It's just I was paying, top dollar for those stations. And I was there for a couple of years. And then when I had enough capital, I rented out space, bought used furniture and used equipment that you can get for pennies on the dollar. And I was able to build out about 150 seats. And I did that for about 6 years. And just a couple of years ago, we purchased this building where I'm at now that can house 300 seats, but I don't need that today because once COVID hit, the government said you could have 50% of people at your office. I chose 20%, sent most of them home. We have people here, Yola, for internet redundancy, for a backup generator, for electricity, and for IT support. But the market's changed. Individuals with good skill sets and responsibility, they can work from home. There's no shenanigans. The only
Mm.
thing is there's isolation, and you lose that sort of feeling that you get when you sit next to somebody and you can celebrate a great phone call or pick them up when they've been knocked down after a difficult call. And just even my game room environment, that was a place to recharge batteries and, some friends and let off some steam. And when individuals are working home, they might save time and money, but I also believe that it really reduces the sort of company culture that we're capable of building here.
Yes, it's true. And uh, how do you how they feeling? Because there you go. You are a person that takes care. You show love to people. So must be very difficult for yourself as well, because getting into your company every day and having that amount of people around, and with your beautiful smile coming in, and yes, let's do it, today is the day, like yesterday was good, and now you don't have that many people. How is for you after?
Like a camel in a desert, I'm hoping that enough energy, water that I gave them while they were here can last. And we can have that sort of bond where we can pick up where we left off. But no, my friend, a lot of my essence, a lot of my energy, my momentum was taken away from me. I'm just not, all day long walking the roads. There was a lot of connection there when somebody was having a bad day. You
Mm,
could give them the benefit of the doubt. You could reset them. So because there's things outside the office which may be affecting their performances here. Mind you, I'm a guest in this country. I'm learning as I still go along. And it just restricts you. And since there's a lot of competition out there with Amazon, HP, Intel, and all the large call centers, somebody can leave at any time and be hired the following day. So there's a really good balance there. It's a give and it's a
mm,
take.
yes.
But things have changed. It's a lot more virtual now. People prefer non-voice, and more people are distancing themselves from the sort of core relationship building that we did as children, like where we used to go outside to recess and play, or we
Yeah.
would sit next to one another at lunch and talk, or we'd walk home
Yes.
together after school or after work just to make sure everything's cool. And so um, a lot of the times you can reduce attrition if a best friend works somewhere, or you can see someone's full potential when they're comfortable and they start contributing more. And so it makes it a little more challenging to delegate that sort of responsibility when people are not on site to be able to grow with you.
Mm, yeah, it's so true. It's really true. The world
Yeah.
changed. I do most of my work from home. But on the other hand, I have something that a lot of people might not have, which is this, for example, doing podcast. I know I'm not close, because if we were close together, we would be like, yeah, more hyper than I feel right now. But it's one
Yeah,
thing
but I can
that
give you a high five. I'm giving you a high five. That's cool.
I love it. But is that this is like something that adds up to my week. When it comes to
Yeah.
podcasting, I'm like, yes. I'm always after the my session. I go live, and I'm on fire because by the stories, by the people I get to know. But I wish I can give hugs as well, because I love to hug people. But I do understand what you said, and
Don't kid yourself, Yola. You can totally feel that energy over over these waves here. You shine, and that's the most important thing.
Nah, thank you. Thank you. We're having someone here, like on the chat. He's coming from LinkedIn. She says hello, Paula Kennedy Gibson. So she said hi from Scotland. So this is for you and for me.
That's very cool. What's up, Paula?
Uh, nice to have you here. I hope you're enjoying our laughing and conversation and amazing talk from Richard. So, Richard, now I want you to ask you about that beautiful thing behind yourself, the music. How do you call music box looks like? So, can you talk about your passion for restoring American pinball machines and antique rockla jukebox? It's jukebox,
Oh,
right? The name.
absolutely. I'm a proud Generation X that grew up in the 70s and 80s, and you know that $5 was the best on a Saturday at an arcade. What you're seeing behind me now is a gorgeous 1961 Rocola Regis, and over on this side is my private candy stash. Downstairs, I got 13 pinball machines, retro arcade machines, and air hockey table, plus 6 other jukeboxes. One man's trash is another man's treasure. And I can't tell you how much I love the craftsmanship and the old machines, but my purest passion are those American flipper pinball machines. And so I'll drive a couple hours with a truck, couple $100, and I'll pick up a beauty, fix her up at the store, and the next thing you know, I'm sitting on an amazing machine,
I love
and
it.
I'm addicted to them. And I'm willing to fall on that sword. Like my wife and I, she can win 99% of the times. Just give me my machines, and I'm a happy husband. Have the room for them, Yola. My agents love them. Most of the machines are older than them. So instead of going outside for a cigarette, sitting on your phone for Instagram or Facebook, you're in the game room. You're making friends. You're hanging out with me.
Really
You're
good.
really getting ready for that second half push.
Right. That's really good because makes people to engage to each other instead of the social, the like virtual life nowadays. That's really good. Such a
Yeah, but Yola,
clever.
you're telling me earlier that these machines are tough to find, and you found one and you played it the other day, and so they could always play PlayStation or Xbox and anything. But to be able to see a classic retro machine, it's a different experience for them. And all we're trying to do, you and I, is to
Hmm.
enrich their lives with new memories and new experiences.
If I find one that is, I will call you from here and you come and collect from London.
Oh, I'll
Definitely.
definitely buy that machine. Of course I will. Oh, you're so funny. But yeah, I mean, as I say before, it's you have to see the marquees and the old wheels that they have, and some of the machines before they started putting on certain play fields, they were painted wood. So these machines from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, you can see almost the cracks in the wood where every single machine has its own individual role. But I tell you, I talk to the machines, I clean them. There's a product called Wildcat 125 that can shine the surface for you. And when I go look at these machines, I'm trying to play it cool, but I can't help myself. I'm almost running to them like Dudley Moore and Bo Derek in the movie 10. I will run into that bodega and start hugging the machine. Almost paying them an extra $50 just to not look at me. Yeah, but what are
Oh,
you gonna do?
oh, that's beautiful. And your machines, do we need to put a coin or they are not with it's just
You're
play?
so funny. If you want to buy me lunch, fine. No, all these machines are free play. Of course.
No, but you know, back in the, I don't know, what I remember, they have we need to place something like a coin. I think it's a
I
coin.
these are private collections, VIP, and when you come here, you can play your brains out until your fingers fall off.
And the best thing about jukebox is I think it's the ones that play music, right? Because I
Oh,
call music box.
the old 45s with the old needles, sure. But guess what? It's expensive to fix and they break and they're delicate. So sometimes you can put an MP3 in there or Bluetooth. So then you have unlimited music. And then the sound is that much better. And so we do both with the machines. Mhm.
Wow. Oh, they more modern then, because
That's right.
some of them are more. Wow, that's really good. I love your passion about these things. It's beautiful.
Weird, right? But I was growing up, and as I say, these machines were expensive, and the lights, it just reminds me of the great times growing up. And so
Mm,
I just wanted to create that here. And I tell you what, if you're going to be an entrepreneur and start a business, there's nothing better than a game room for people to hang out, because I'm telling you, that's where all the bonding happens at a company.
that's right. Yes. And do you must have people coming to you like, can you sell me one? Can you sell me? No.
And I look around and go, "Are you talking to me?" Of course, I'm not selling my machines. They're home now. They're exactly where they need to be.
Wow, love it.
Uh-huh.
Thank you so much for sharing. Now let's go back to, I want you to show me, to tell me or describe the famous buffer boomerang technique. What are you talking about?
Let me show you an actual photograph that I have of the buffer boomerang. Take a look at
Oh,
this. Can you see it?
okay. That's a good question. Okay.
A
Buffer.
buffer boomerang Yola. It's usually what happens when telemarketers are prospecting, or let's just say it's any sort of conversation. If somebody snaps back at you with a negative tone, what I like to do is I like to buffer that tone. I like to name drop Yola. That's an excellent question. My company is Costa Rica's call center. So there's an excellent way if somebody asks you who you are, what's your company, what do you do, why are you here? Just make
Right.
sure you say, Yola, that's an excellent question. The reason I'm here today is I want to be on your podcast. And so you're not compromising ethics, values, and more. It's a restructure of a conversation to readjust the tone and almost to teach somebody a lesson that they are being rude. And so what we try to do when we're making these appointment setting, lead generation, or inbound customer support calls, it's really about being in the now, Yola. It's about being in that moment, because you don't want to jump ahead or think behind the mistakes that you made or what you need to say, because in that moment, you will catch something. Could be a second, could a couple seconds, but that's where you'll be able to anchor with someone. There's so many things you and I have anchored on today, but imagine if there's a dog barking in the background. A lot of my agents have been trained to inadvertently and passive aggressively let the client know how much we love dogs. What breed is it? What's its name? And how old is your puppy? So these are the sort of things we can connect on. Calm down. The client will realize the dog is making a little bit of noise, putting it out, coming it back. And that's how we can reset conversations. And so it's really about a little bit of a zig and a zag, relaxing and being real on the phone. And that's the buffer boomerang technique, so someone doesn't hang up on you, Yola.
I actually I did not mention to you when we went into this call, came into this call, because I have a dog, and I normally I tell, if my dog barks, that's a dog. I'm sorry, don't get like. But I try to calm down people, and that's interesting. So I'm using buffer boomerang straight away
Oh,
technique.
yeah. What's your puppy's name? What breed is it? Yeah, things like that. It's great stuff.
Oh wow, that's really good. So another one, you got it. I've got it here to ask you. Phonetic micro expression reading for mastering verbal tell signs. Is upside down, Richard.
Oh, I knew that. I knew that. Good job, Yola.
Phonetic means phone and for mer.
Phonetic micro expression reading. It's like an XY chart. You're really judging how fast or slow someone is speaking, how loud or how soft they're speaking. Just for argument's sake, my friend, you could put me as a fast 8, a loud 8. So I'd be in quadrant 1 in 88. What I like
Mm,
to do is I like to analyze 30-second to 2-minute intervals, because some people on a first time read, they might spike or dip. There's 4 sections of reading this, in my opinion.
mhm.
Phonetics is broken down into tone, rate, pitch, and duration. Your tone should always be confident and empathetic. That's the consistent variable. The mirror imaging is how fast or how loud. So I can see this spike or dip. Now, it can be manipulated, Yola. So that's why I believe the greatest phonetic sign is answering speed, which is kind of ironic because it's the silence, not the sound. That's why cops usually ask you a tough fourth or fifth question to see if a robber or someone is being consistent. Why do I do this? So the agents are trained to ask a clarification question, a tie down question. It gives us checkpoints in a conversation so we don't leave doors open. It allows us to give long lists of things to see if we get reinforcement that's positive or negative, to start asking open ended questions
Right.
vertically. So it's slow and slow. It's buying time. It's active listening. It's engagement. But here's the best part, my friend. You can adjust the tone immediately by doing a company name spike, or the first couple seconds of introducing yourself. You could say, hey, how's Entrepreneur Talks podcast today? I'm still using my anonymity, just not the whole call. That's shady. But at least a gatekeeper, someone that's answering the call, will make it seem like I've been there before, drop a defense from a 10 to a 6, maybe ask me a buffer boomerang, who are you or what's your company? But prior to being transferred to the decision maker, Yola, I'll make sure to let you know that you are amazing, and I'm going to let the boss know that. That's a positive escalation verbally. And I'll also do it in writing at the end too. Why? Because I'm making nice. So I can give a gift. You gave me a pass to pitch. And when I speak to the owner, the first thing I'm going to do is compliment you, which all of a sudden starts me strong. And so it at least is allowing me to make my case. So from an educated point of view, people make decisions. The
Right.
most important thing is that I can get the time to build that relationship.
This is so powerful. I actually today I read a document when it was about the questions you just talking. I'm like, I know this. The open-ended questions that can bring you the sales, that can make your client to open themselves. I like, I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, whoa, Yola is the universe talking to you. You need to start to use.
Open-ended are great. Yola, you'll still get the yes or no. Like, okay, I'll give you the best example. Yola, do you like ice cream? Yes. Hey, how about this one? Yola, what type of ice cream do you like? If you start naming flavors, A, you like ice cream, but B, I get the double double. I get to find out what flavor you like. But then you might say, I like double scoop and I like sprinkles on top. Thanks, Yola. Keep on going. I mean, open-ended questions are the greatest. And then you could use a Me Too technique like it did with your dog earlier. What is your favorite ice cream? I am curious. Yola, what do you like?
Should I say?
Please do. I would love to know.
I'm not a really good friend of any ice cream actually. I don't know. I don't.
Look
Sorry.
what we just did. We found out that you didn't like ice cream from that open-ended question. So what is your favorite treat? If it's not ice cream, what do you like to eat when you treat yourself?
You're gonna laugh. My favorite treat is Cerelac. Do you know what is
What is that?
Cerelac? Is a baby food. I love that. Like,
Well, I've never tried it. It sounds great. I'm definitely going to go for it. But I tell you what, if this were a telemarketing call, I learned something new. We could anchor on that and talk about it. But you answered my question. It was not ice cream. So instead of trying to sell you the greatest ice cream in the world, now we're talking about another thing that you enjoyed and you can
yes.
expand upon that. So don't be so rigid. There's no straight lines in nature. In fact, I'm glad that you gave me that example because guess what? More ice cream for me. Thank you, Yola. So everything's great. We all win.
Right. But I will tell you another time what is sort of like baby food. You see, we have some people here, audience from LinkedIn, and they are saying hi from Surrey, from is another gentleman. So it's a couple of people, and the lady said, "Baby food, lol." Yes, that's my treat.
That's why you look so young. Maybe it might give me some hair if I start eating it.
It is amazing the way you talk about your jukebox and so on. I can tell you about Cerelac. I just love it. There we go. But thank you for bringing that examples. Really good. I could say something else about myself as well, right? So another one I have here.
Yes.
Uh, Interpersonal communication.
Yes, and conflict management. Absolutely. A lot of it has to do once again with engagement. I do like repeating things with people. A lot of individuals on the phone will do hedging. They'll say, okay, or great. Well, sometimes the answer is not great. Like we have a law firm we work with, and we do intake coordination with people that have been fired and have wrongful termination. And so if I'm asking you your name and talking about your address and the dates that you work somewhere, some of those answers are not great. You should be very neutral about that. So Yola, your address is 123 Main Street. Is that correct? Yes. Thank you. And so a lot of times you could be robotic, repeat to ensure. And I also believe in military alphabet
Mm,
because we have such exotic names. And I think it's a huge compliment to be able to spell back someone's name for them so an email doesn't bounce back or you pronounce it correctly. And what's interesting here is that the Spanish vowels are different from the Anglo-Saxon vowels. And so I'm allowing my agents to write certain words out phonetically, but still know how to spell them. So at
mm.
least it sounds like it's from a certain area. And so there's these little tricks that we do in order to make someone more proficient on the phone.
Do
Mhm.
you mean like A for Alpha, B for Bond, this kind of communication?
Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot.
Do you know?
I mean, your Y starts with
I
Yankee, but that's cool, you know?
because I studied travel and tourism back in the days,
Uh-huh.
and I had to learn this kind of vocabulary to be able to talk about the flights and airlines and everything that is in the air. You need to know this. So I learned and I love it. I said, oh, even nowadays when I'm on the phone, even some call centers, they call me, they need my name. Oh, can you tell me your birthday, your name, please? And I'm saying Yola Bastos. And I said, I can understand. And then, would you like me to spell? And that is on the phone starts to spell, but not on this using this. It says why. It says I for Y for yogurt. You know Y for Yankee
Of course.
because that's the
I always
basics.
say for my clarification, because I believe it gives me permission to ask. So it's for my edification, clarification. Then Yola, a lot of people we speak with have served in the military or know somebody. So instead of the call ending, there might be a couple extra minutes to talk about their service or where they traveled in the world. And those are the things, my friend, that can custom make a voicemail, an email. Doing that due diligence before calling a company will enable you to have that sort of momentum and to separate yourself. So I'm not just calling you ma'am. This is my friend Yola. This is the Entrepreneur Talks podcast. We read about one another. We're interested in each other's lives, and I believe that that will increase your odds of that sort of relationship building because it's extremely
Yeah,
sincere. And it's the sort of person that is done a little bit different than just carpet bombing, making phone calls, and hoping for the best. No, no, no. Every relationship is should be done slowly and look at somebody else's pace and know their parameters. And that's why we do things internationally. And you can learn that way as well. Mhm.
wow. Do you have a timeline that you can be on the call with a specific? Doesn't sound like it's necessary to have a time like for your employees. They have, yeah.
Wonderful, Yola. Such an intelligent question. Let me break it down in a couple different ways. There are metrics that we have. Clients have expectations. If it's inbound support, we need to resolve this issue in a first call and in a timely manner. But then again, if you hold someone's feet to the fire to only be on the phone for 10 minutes and you rush the end of the call, it's not that sort of relationship with Yola. There might be a moment where a client is explaining how we could have done things better, or maybe giving more some references for me to call to build my business. How about an upsell? I mean, these are certain things that you have to take into consideration the value of a client. And by making a phone call tight and rushing, it's only going to throw
Mhm.
somebody's game off. We're not on the phone for 10 hours. But my friend Yola, if you want to talk to me a little bit about your business and about how you grew and your family and your adventure, don't you think that that would only make our relationship that much better? You gave me so many goodies to talk about and to really enjoy. And so I like when clients can expand to me. If they're just black and white, balls and strikes, and that will never work.
Mm.
You need to make sure that people can leave something on the table and that you are able to be forthright. You can make suggestions, you can be coachable, and you can adjust. And if we can do this together, then there's no reason why two teams can't join and become even that much more stronger.
Right. It's good. It's good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, now I was thinking, I wanna be on the phone with you. Like
Oh,
I
you,
wanna be with one of your team, like call somewhere. It is possible because I'm here. I know sometimes I get people from Portugal, from another countries, for Apple, for example. They are everywhere. And for some reason, UK is a lot of people on the call center in Portugal, and then I end up with my country. I'm like, yes, and we start to talk about a lot of things, but no, nothing related to computer or anything that I was starting. And it gives me so much. It's so pleasurable. It's like, yes, that person is with me, and then we go back to the situation, the what I my need. That is amazing. I totally. But I want to go into your call. Can I get a call from your call center? Just to.
absolutely. The fact that you have that desire to do it, I think it's amazing, but don't sell your soul. Be careful about doing that. How about this, Yola? When the agents come into the call center, I address fear. By learning a second language is 10 times harder than any campaign I could put you on. And then again, if you're not afraid of a police officer or a teacher, why would you be afraid of me? If you're coming to work on time, pen at the ready, and coachable, we have a match made in heaven. And then,
Mhm.
once again, being a native English speaker, I will extend certain vocabularies that are diplomatic and strategic. We have a quality control department, so we'll listen to your calls and we'll grade you on key performance indicators. But my friend, and you have this in abundance, and this is something you can't teach. These are the soft skills. Yola, I could easily teach you a CRM and how to use a headset and phone system, but my friend, you have this smile, you have this personality, you're engaged. And so that's something that will only make someone a top producer because they have these natural skills and they seem to enjoy their job. And it's not a grind
Oh,
to them, it's not a burnout. And that's why you would be very successful on a phone call, Yola.
oh, that's really good. Thank you. Thank you. Now, all these questions that I did to you, and you also in two
Yes.
of them you showed up paper. If someone wants to grab these examples that is possible, they can connect with you on social media, or they can get any tips like you just provided us to today. Is any way that we can get documents or a free call with you? Basically, how they can people reach you, connect with you.
So many ways. You can buy a first class plane ticket and come visit me here, which would be fun. Maybe we'll do our second podcast here, Yola. How's that sound?
Love it. I love it. I'm getting now
Well,
done.
we have a large Facebook fan page, about 111,000 local Costa Rican ticas, which will give your audience a chance to understand Costa Rica and the business process outsourcing industry. But once again, there's no seminar, there's no 1995 book. If your client would love to touch base with me, just introduce themselves and share a script or run some ideas, there's no forced hands. Put your credit card and checkbook away. I don't need any money. I'd love to meet Yola's friends and see what we can do and just take it from there. But I can't thank you enough. I had the best time on your show today. And Yola, you bring the best out of everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so grateful. But so I do believe that, just to tell to my audience right now, that any way that you can connect with Richard is going to be on the description of this podcast session right now. So I believe will be a website and then the Facebook group. I don't know, I can't remember if it's there, but that's the way anyone can connect with you. And once again, Richard, I really do feel what I'm going to say. I love it. I love it to have you here today. And thank you so much for each of examples and tips and teachings that you just brought in a simple and beautiful way. And the sharing about your jukeboxes and pinballs machines. Love it. Thank you so much.
So much fun. Thank you, Yola.
You're welcome. You take care, and I'm no count with me because I'm coming to Costa Rica. Me aguarde.
Or that sounds like a plan. We'll get you at the airport and then we're off and running.
Woohoo! No, but first we're gonna go on to see the joke box and play a little bit of pinball.
We got to start with recess first, of course, Yola. Absolutely.
You take care, Richard. God bless you. Bye.
You too now, Yola. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye. Oh, amazing. So thank you everyone that participated today on our podcast and enjoy our conversation. We had some beautiful people here asking and saying hello from different places in the world, not just UK, and we are very grateful. Once again, I hope you enjoyed, and I see you next week. Bye bye.